What is up, everybody? Hello and welcome to Cash Line. We are doing just a live hangout stream today. So if you're in chat, say hello. And if you're not, then maybe you're watching afterwards or you're just watching without the chat. But either way, it would be great to hear from you. So hello once again. Where are you from? If you're here, it is Southern Ontario, and I just got back from getting some groceries, and it's not too bad. It's pretty warm, but people are out and about and getting their groceries and food, and there's a lot of people down the street that are. There's one guy down the street who's doing some outdoor woodworking. He's got his stuff set up on the driveway and like almost out to the main road, which is like everybody can watch him. Anyway, welcome again, and we are today going to be hanging out and chatting for a while to get to know me, because GeoDudes has challenged me, as well as the Geocaching Vlogger, to answer some questions. It was a good idea to pass around and to tag some other vloggers to get to know people. Let's see who we got in chat. We got John Oosterlaken. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I hope I'm not butchering it. But John Oosterlaken, hello. Hunter79, Jonathan, hello from the UK, hello. And SmithNat? Is that, yeah, SmithNat E. Hey, I'm from Texas. Welcome from Texas. I was down there for Geo Woodstock last year. That was good. And I still got a whole bunch of videos from that road trip still to come, and they're almost out because Scotland, that road trip is down to 3 more videos to go, and they are this close to coming out. We also got Kilgore DS from the UK also calling. Hello, and Shannon Bell from Pennsylvania. We got like a worldwide thing. I don't know what the time zone is like right now down in Australia. I think it's like 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5 a.m. It's crazy early morning. Coon and Bud, welcome. And it's Monday down in Australia already. They're already getting ready to go to work. Wow. Go Pub Caching. Pub TV is also here from sunny England. Good that it's sunny. I'm going to just jump right into the first question just to get that one right out of the way. So the set of questions we've got are personal questions and geocaching questions. And the first one on the list we have is, where did you grow up and where do you live now? Well, right now I'm living in Southern Ontario. There's kind of that, Ontario's got that arrowhead style. This is a useful tool. So Southern Ontario in Canada has a little arrowhead on that southern end, and I'm kind of in that dead center. Let me see if I can. I guess it can't log. Okay. Yeah, dead center in that little arrowhead. Right in there. Is that the right way? Yeah, that's the right way. So all that little clump is there west of Hamilton. That's Kitchener and Waterloo. That's like almost like a tech center of Southern Ontario. Toronto has got a lot of stuff going on there, and KW, Waterloo, is the University of Waterloo, and there are so many people that graduate from University of Waterloo and head out to these other huge companies like Google, Microsoft, and all that stuff. So we are kind of like a tech center, and there's a whole lot of commuting now back and forth from Toronto and our cities, our Tri-City area of Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, and Guelph. Golden Horseshoe is what it's called. But so that's where I am now. I was actually born in England. So I'm British descent, British UK. And my mother's from Scotland, my dad's from England, and I was born in Chichester. Chichester? I can never remember how to say that. Chichester, England. That's on the far south coast, the shore of the island there. And yeah, well, my family moved here when I was less than a year old, and I can't say I haven't gone back since, because it was just there last year. It was last year already. Wow. And to visit to attempt to visit my home city, which was a success. But that wasn't for geocaching. That was for family and hidden stuff. Video is back to front. Is it? If I'm this is my left now. I should be pointing to my left, not my right. If that's correct, then the video should be good. If not, then I will flip it. Who else we got? Caching Dead, New York, CDNY. Hello. New York, Pennsylvania, UK, England. Greets from Gouda. Gouda. I didn't mention that one. Gouda. Where is Gouda? Okay, so yes, now we're back to location. Born in England, moved to Ontario when videos mirrored. Well, that should now be fixed. Now I'm pointing to the left. See, that's really weird because on my monitor, it's the right way around. Let me double check something. If I go to... Oh, I'm dealing with so many windows right now. I'm very curious about this. I'm trying something a little different this time. I'm very curious about... Ooh. Yeah, okay. That is bad. Now it's the right way. Interesting. Okay. So... moving on. Oh, yes, you can read the shirt. Keep calm and cache the line. How are you guys dealing with the whole isolation stuff right now? Man, people are still getting out. I'm kind of surprised. There are some, in our area at least, there's a whole lot of parks and trails that are closed. Either it's government mandated that they're closed or just private trails and parks, and they've put up barriers and signs. You almost have to Google your park or trail before you go there if you want to get outside, just to make sure that it's not closed. I love that some of the playgrounds, I can't remember who it was. Somebody shared a photo of a playground with like a sign with the whole park in the background, and they were the two legs of the sign had a caution tape around it. It's like that's the only blockade was under the sign to the park, and that's it. It just looked kind of funny. Yeah, so that is kind of the way things are right now. There's still a number of trails that are open, especially the wider ones where there's room enough for people to stand like 6 to 10 feet apart. And so I was just out getting a few caches yesterday because we are still allowed to go out. And took to one of our trails for 8 or 9 caches or so, and funnily enough, it was pretty popular. There were a number of people on the trails walking dogs, couples and whatnot, but and families biking. There was a few bikers too, but everybody was keeping their distance and making sure they were separate. But I was doing all the way up one way, and then when I came back, there was not a soul in sight. And this was still mid to late afternoon. It was still good temperature. Sun was out, but it was just me on that entire trail for the whole walk back. It was nice. Who else got now? Who else do we have now? Cache Canada is here. Woohoo! And yeah. So yeah. What? Brain gone. What did I want to do? Yeah, well, I got more questions, so let's try another question. Okay, so number 2 for personal questions. Do you have any pets? Christopher Meekley. I think I mentioned this last time. Christopher Meekley. Michael? I'm not sure how you say that. Christopher Meekley is in the house. Hello. And so back to that question. Do you have any pets? My pets. I had a few years ago, I adopted 2 cats, 2 little kitties, and I named them after a couple of characters from a story that I really love. Called them Jersey and Durga. You probably have no idea what those names are from, but I'm like a big fan of Halo. You can kind of tell there's some Halo stuff right there, and I've got a whole bunch of Halo stuff up there. Love the Halo. But for Halo 2, they did a huge promotional campaign for the game, and it was called I Love Bees. And To make a long story short, two of those characters were Jersey, and Durga was an AI, the name of an AI. And I love those characters so much and how they interacted. So those are the first names that came to mind when I adopted these two cats. And over time, I gave Jersey up for adoption at one point. They were kind of clashing and stuff. And a number of years later, I also gave up Durga. This was like quite a while ago. And because geocaching, I was out geocaching so much that Durga was here all alone. This was like her lair, her territory, but she was alone so much. So I wanted to give her to somebody who would care for her a lot more, be there for her and all that. So I no longer have any pets, and the house is, well, at least before isolation, the house was very, very clear, very, very empty. My pet is on my head. John Osterlaken, your pet. Oh, your pet is on your head. Pet is hat and Dutch. Interesting. So this is a pet. Pet. Is that how you say it? Pet? Just like pet? Cache Canada says, we got wood chips and that park has signs saying to distance. So we went for a walk and got one cache. Yeah, why not? Especially if there's nobody else around and you're not touching anything, you're keeping distance, all that stuff. There's a cache there. You do your due diligence of wash before and wash after. You wash before for other people and you wash after for yourself. Then really, there shouldn't be any problems. Yeah, so hopefully you're still being able to keep safe and active and clean and all that. Last week I was outside for I think 3 times, and then finally got out on Saturday for a good caching fix. It's crazy just sitting in here for so long. But hopefully you get a whole bunch of stuff done. I don't know. Being solo, because I live alone. I used to have roommates, but I now live alone, which means there's nothing else here but me and you and videos and YouTube and social media and all that stuff. Yeah. Personal question number 3. What was your favorite activity as a kid? This one took a little bit to come up with something because, wow, it's been so long. But I still think when it comes down to it, I have to say, I kind of collected things. So I used to be a card collector as well, like whether it was sports or TV shows or movies or whatever other stuff was there in the 90s. It was fun to go to the card store and pick up those packs of 5 cards or 5 to 10 cards and see which ones you get and all that stuff. But that kind of took a wayside because at that time marbles were so popular. When I was in grade school, it's like I still remember I think it was it 5 before grade 6, those really, really early grades. During recess, everybody would I remember the games where people would sit outside with their backs to the wall of the school, and then they'd have their marbles with them, and they just sit there it sounds kind of weird, but you'd sit there with your legs open and put the marbles in the center, and if you wanted to, you'd walk around, and it's kind of a little competition thing. You had your marbles, and you went up to somebody who had their marble out there, and if that's the one that you wanted, that specific design, that style, then you'd say, okay, I'd like to play for that marble. And if you say what kind of marbles you have, what ones you want to play with, and the whole idea is that you would take that marble and flick it, however you wanted to do it, flick it, roll it, and from a certain distance, try to hit their marble. If you miss, they keep your marble. If you hit, then you get to keep theirs. So it got to be so super competitive, and you had these super skilled marble players that would almost hit everything, and they'd be walking around with these bags of these huge, the jumbos, the large marbles, and all these really rare small ones. I remember the pearl was a really popular one because it had that shine, that glisten that everybody wanted. But that was a really popular game. But that was just one thing you could do with marbles. There were people out in the field doing stuff as well. But a friend and I, the first friend that I remember ever having when I moved to my region in KW, we would play marbles ourselves, but in a scavenger hunty kind of way. So whether we're at his house or my house, somebody would take marbles. This wasn't for competing or anything. We would just use somebody's marbles, and somebody would take 10, 15 minutes or something and hide them around the house, around the basement, around rooms, maybe upstairs. And the other person, when the game started, would be out to try to find them. And it was just, it wasn't to get anything. It was just for the fun of the scavenger hunt, which I think is so hilarious because that's kind of exactly what we're doing now. Geocaching, woo! Yeah, okay, what do we got in chat here? We got, John, okay, scrolling up. Cache Canada, not everyone agrees with the philosophy. Oh, yes, of geocaching, how to do it safely. Jonathan got one cache last week that had not been found for nearly 3 years, and that was a 10-minute walk. That's nice. 3 years, and it was only 10 minutes from you. Wow. Went for a county hunt. Oh, nice. We did 9. You got 9s. Are you trying to, John Oosterlaken, are you trying to complete a county challenge in your area? Because that would be a good challenge to do. Because especially if those counties have like rural areas with caches that are out in the distance that don't get found very often, this is a great opportunity to get out there, especially with people staying at home and not getting out on the roads. The roads are clear, especially if you've got to pull over to the side. It's a lot safer out in the country. Shannon Bell haven't been going out much these last couple of days. Went out for a walk in the rain today for 2 FTFs, new caches about a mile from your apartment. Wow. So I guess you're still getting caches published in your area. Ontario and a number of other regions are not publishing right now, just to keep up with the local regional orders and guidelines for safety. Okay, Shannon Bell says, check out a YouTube channel called Gels Marble Runs. Very entertaining. I have to check that out. Is that like those the machine that people create where you drop the marbles in, they do all the stuff, and then I can't remember what it was called. There's one channel they do that for like music. So they've got this huge bag of marbles, and they all start in some place, but as they run through, it hits things and makes other sounds and stuff. So you just hit the go on the marbles, they run through the machine, and you get music. It's crazy. It's awesome. And I'm trying to remember what it's called. That's so cool. So Gels, Jelle's Marble Runs. You have to check that out. Did 12 caches on our way from Kitchener back to London, says You were in Kitchener, Cache Canada? You should have let me know. We could have said hi from a great distance. John says, yes, 355 needed in Holland. 355 counties or 355 caches? 355 can't be counties. That's just nuts. Geocacher Ken, hello. You did an adventure lab on Sunday. Yeah, that's a good safe one to do. Not a lot of physical contact with anything. Hello, Dave Manning. You're in the house too. And Jonathan says I had 4 DNFs on it. I'd been looking in the place. The coordinates were out about coordinates out 10 meters. Hate when that happens. I mean, you can only get to a certain accuracy anyway, but when you're like that far out, I did have a couple of DNFs yesterday that were sort of like that. One of them, reading some past logs, a couple of people have said that the coordinates were around 10 to 15 feet out or something like that. And the place that I was looking matched the description, the title and the hint, and the coordinates, but I couldn't make out. I didn't know how to make out the past logs and whether it was in the right place or not. I had to DNF it. I couldn't find anything, even expanding. I hate when that happens. Cache Canada was there very briefly. Did a drop off. Oh, right. You did a drop off to the Sparks crew. If you watch Cache Canada and you haven't subscribed, go check them out because they go out quite often with Sparky 500 and Sparkle and Lil Spark. We're all kind of friends, but they've been doing a whole lot of videos with that crew, and so that's why they were in town dropping off a little care package to the Sparks crew. That's awesome. So Shannon Bell, he makes tons of unique marble courses, right? He has teams, does them as competitors. Our competitions. There's sports commentary and everything. That sounds entertaining. We'll have to definitely have to check that out. That could be a fun one. Cody, hello, Cody the Cowboy, Geocaching Adventures from Italy. Ha, Italy. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're doing okay. How are you doing? Like everybody knows Italy. I hope you're doing well. Oh wait, where did we leave off? All right, the personal questions. Number 4. What was the first car you owned? The first car I owned is the car I own now. Unlike some people, it took me years and years to get my driver's license because I live pretty much downtown of my city, so I was using mass transit to get everywhere, whether it was work or at a church or anything. It was just mass transit was everywhere, public transit. And so if it was geocaching out of town, it was always with friends, and so I'd be with them, and we'd have fun that way. So and occasionally I'd have my bike if I wanted to go, say, to the edge of the city and go a little further than the public transit, but never had a car. And I always said to myself that when it gets to the point where I either need a car or it becomes something that's affordable to do, then I'll go for it. But there's no like pressing need. It's not like turn 16, get a license, turn 17, get a car or something like that. I kind of wish that was the case. Yeah, it would have been a lot better, I think, maybe. But yeah, so the car that I have now is Deja, which, does anybody know what Deja comes from? It's also deja vu, but that's not the source of this one. Mentioned before. Halo. I'll get a closer look at that later. Deja is the name of another artificial intelligence, a smart AI. Deja is the name of the artificial intelligence that worked with brain fart. Deja was a very, very special intelligent artificial intelligence that came before Cortana. And so I thought Deja was a good name for the car. So that's the name of my car. And she is now a 2018 Kia Sportage and got it in 17. So that's three years. Yeah. Coming on to about half the warranty length. So yeah, I like my car. She's done good so far. And she's been down to Texas for that long 10,000 kilometer road trip. That was crazy. That was long. And but she did good with that. Check up before and check up right after. The sand in the desert wasn't an issue for her. She managed to cope with all of that, and that was a fun road trip. That was sleeping in the car. That was like just pure road trip camping, and until we got to Texas for Geo Woodstock, which, as you probably already know, Geo Woodstock for 2020 has been postponed to 2021, just like HQ 2020. Oh, we'll have events coming up again. The community celebration events, as soon as various lockdowns and quarantines get lifted, then we'll finally be able to have those events again. And I know there's still a few mega events that are in their same schedule. Coming up, we've got the Midwest Geo Bash in July. It's going to be the HQ 2020 was in August with Geo Woodstock, and they've rescheduled for next year. But those two events we're going to be huge, like thousands and thousands of people, if not a giga for Geo Woodstock. And so Midwest Geo Bash is a mega down in Michigan. Yeah, Michigan. And so they're kind of smaller, and it's camping and stuff. So I think we're all kind of waiting to hear what they're going to be doing, just in case they decide to change. But so far, right now, they've said that they're still moving forward with the event. I guess it'll also depend on Michigan's COVID orders at that time, and for us in Canada, just over the border, whether we're allowed to go over the border. Because right now, Canada and the U.S. have agreed to shut the border down for crossing to anything non-essential. So Midwest Geobash is in Ohio. Yes, that's right. it's right. Yes, it's just over the border. There's that the Michigan-Ohio border, and it's just on the south of the border. That's right. Thank you, Cyber Husky, and welcome. Hello. So definitely looking forward to that, presuming I can get there. And if you are going to Midwest Geobash, make sure you come and say hello. We'll be camping there. And a number of us, including Neil Moore, Cash Tales, we're going to be camping kind of in the same vicinity. So we're probably going to have a little geo-vlogger signage set up. So if you want to come by and say hi, then don't forget to do that. Okay, so next on the list, question number 5. Oh my gosh. Oh yes, Jonathan, the Sussex Mega UK has been canceled this year. Yeah, heard about that, and that is quite unfortunate. There was a whole lot of advertising for that I saw, and it would have been nice to get to, but that's another big trip for me. But it's still unfortunate that that one has been canceled. I don't know if do you know if that UK Mega has been just postponed, so it will be in Sussex next year, or is it just completely canceled and next year is going to be a different location? Because that would be awful. That would suck. Because it seems like Geo Woodstock is in the same location just next year. Yeah, that's really too bad, because I just got last year's UK Mega video published. So if you haven't checked that out, then make sure you do. There was a lot of coverage from that. It was a really good time. Like, there were a lot of tons of people and a lot of great caches, and had some fun putting together that video. So if you haven't yet, check it out. And there's still 1, 2, 3 more videos to come. Mentioned that earlier for UK. If you watch to the end of the day 9 mega video, there's a little bit of preview for the next one, and you might know where it's from if you listen to it. What's coming up? That's going to be a fun one. And then the one after that, as a little bit of a preview, is I met up with a number of other geo-vloggers. So that second video coming up is going to be a whole bunch of cameos. Probably maybe of people that you've watched before. If you haven't subscribed to them, then maybe you should. And then the last one was after I did all my family stuff down in England. I took that long drive back up to was it not Aberdeen? Where did we fly from? Edinburgh. And but I passed through Stonehenge. Finally got to Stonehenge. Could not pass up that opportunity in England to get to Stonehenge. That was awesome. And that is going to be the last video of the mini series. And then finally back to the Geo Woodstock road trip from last year. And I think there's one video before the one that I'm really anticipating, because Mingo's birthday is coming up. It's a week away. 1, 2, 3. Yes, it's next Sunday is Mingo's birthday. May 3rd, 2000. And I want to, oh man, that's still a lot of videos. I'm going to have to get a whole bunch of videos out if I want to get that video published for next Sunday. So I'm going to have to crack down. I got to get a couple of caches this week, and I'll just have to spend the rest of the time editing video. What? That is a whole lot of video. Hello, Dan Hawk, Adventures with Dan. He is in the house as well. And yeah. And I don't think he's in. Dan, you haven't announced Dan, I don't think. Tune in on Friday to Adventures with Dan, because I'll be on the show on his Cache Chat show with Digas71, who's also an Ontario vlogger, and we'll be chatting about caches. Cyber Husky, I would not be surprised if Midwest Geobash went giga if it does go on, since it'll be one of the few big events. I don't know if the will attends for Midwest Geobash get really high really quick and it becomes giga. That might not be a good thing, because if there are orders for sizes and acceptability, that might make it not doable. I don't know. I guess we'll only see with time. I doubt it'll go giga. It's not that big of a location, and I don't know. That'd be interesting, but I doubt it'll happen. Okay, so UK Mega 2021. So next year is in Lincolnshire. Yeah, okay. If it's already chosen, then I guess they can't really do much about that. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So Sussex loses out unless they can maybe get the next year. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so back to question number 5. Question number 5. If you could watch only one movie for the rest of your life, what movie would it be? So these questions are like the ones that were posed to me, but you feel free to answer. If you're watching this and it's not live, post a comment with an answer and compare. We'll see what it's like, because some of these are pretty interesting and pretty fun. And okay, so coming back to that, so Dan Hawk says come to going caching. Yeah, it wasn't going to be possible this year, and it was already tight with the trips that I've got planned. It still might not be possible this year in Georgia. We'll see. I do want to get there at some point. There's too many events. Hey, Sir Drumalot is in the house. You missed 4 out of 7 personal questions, and none of the geocaching questions yet. Okay, so if you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what movie would that be? See, this is kind of a trick question. It's not what's your favorite movie. This is reminding me of that scene from The Office where they were doing this game outside while the office was kind of on fire about what's your guilty pleasure movie that you have to watch for the rest of your life, or something like that, on a deserted island. And it's intricate because it's not a simple question. And so it's not what's your favorite movie. It's what one movie would you watch for the rest of your life? What would that be? I had to think about that one. I was like going through Braveheart, says CDNY. Oh, I thought about that one. That is one of my favorite movies. I haven't watched it for a while, but I got to watch it again. And it's on that watch list. But I have it on my shelf over there of movies too. But so this is a movie that basically would not drive you crazy by watching it over and over and over and over again for the rest of your life. Probably at your choosing. I guess you wouldn't be watching it end over end, but the only one for the rest of your life. So thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I've got a lot of movies that I would love to watch, but you watch them once and then you put it aside for a while. You might come back to it later on, but you watch some other stuff and then you might come back to it. Doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It's just watching it more. It's not as satisfying the more you watch it. So I started moving into a class of movie. It's not so much a particular movie, but a style of movie. And I've realized that, there's movies and there's music, right? So if you're listening to music, you can passively listen to music and really enjoy it. So combining those two, I started thinking musicals, because there are some musicals that have amazing music. Whether or not you're watching the action, the choreography, and all that, the music is stuff that you can listen to and over and over and over again, right? So going through the musicals that I love, there's kind of two, but there's one that stands out. So there's Moulin Rouge. I like that one because it's got a soundtrack that I was listening to over and over and over again. Loved it. But I got to say, to take the cake for musicals, and one that I could watch and listen to for so long, would be The Greatest Showman. I love that soundtrack. I love it so much. Listen to it over on repeat, over and over and over again. And even in the car, it's just on random. And I love it so much. And I think that the story is great too. And I think I could sit down and watch that without a break, without a different movie in between, and enjoy it all the time. Because then, that's also the kind of movie that you get it playing, and then you can you don't have to watch it. When you get to the songs, the music, you can get up, you can go around, you can dance, you can sing, you can do whatever you want and still enjoy it. So yeah, I would say the movie to watch for the rest of my life, only one, would probably be The Greatest Showman. Love that movie. What other options? What other movies do we got here? We got Spirited Away, says Shannon Bell. and Back to the Future. Yeah. Minority Report is one from Zikon22. Hello. And what else we got? Yeah, Braveheart again. Studio Ghibli. I've heard of that one, but I don't know what that is. Studio Ghibli. It sounds familiar. A lot of video lag. Audio video sync. Oh, that's weird, says Bill Kettlewell. As well, hello! And Train Spotting. I haven't watched that. I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it. The Champ from says Hunter. Yeah, so there's a lot of a number of these are good. It's going to be different for everybody. Yeah, it really is, because there's so many great movies out there. But Studio Ghibli is or was a Japanese animation studio. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen that. I guess maybe it probably shows on Netflix with some of their anime films. Usual Suspects. Did I even watch that? I think I started watching The Usual Suspects at one time, and I don't know. It's on Netflix. I should watch it. Gotta get through these personal. Okay, so personal question number 6. If you could meet any historical or famous person in history, who would that be? I think there's only one good answer to that. Jesus! So many questions would be answered just to see and talk to him. I mean, like, there's so many historical people, and they all have value and input. I don't know. It's one of those. It's like choosing your favorite something for something that's huge and widely various of variety. Like, what's your favorite cache? What's your favorite geocache? Comment below. There's no one answer to that. There's so many different interpretations of favorite. It's like it all depends on how you feel and what you got with you, and whether it's like for the cache or the experience or it's a tough question to answer. Well, let's get through the personal questions. During these times, what is one skill or hobby you would like to pick up? That one was a tough one, because I wouldn't say I have too much time, but I think what would be a really cool one that I would love to have that would also be fitting for these times, that's part of the question, would be construction, like a handyman thing. I'm not a handyman. I don't have tools. I don't have a room. I don't have a place where I can like build stuff and all that. And watching channels like Behind the Cache and Bounce and some of these other geocache constructors, it makes me really wish that I had the tools and the equipment and the time to be handy and get things like that done. It's something you can do at home with not a lot of interaction with other people and stuff. So I think that would be a really cool skill that I would love to have in this time. Maybe eventually. I'm in a very, very old house. I mean, you can kind of see the wallpaper back there. It's not so much shag. It's just very orange and then kind of hidden there. There's sunflower wallpaper. Like that. I've had to live with that 20 years now. 20 years. It is an old house. The floor squeaks. It vibrates, and the basement is like this high. It's right above my head is the ceiling. Can't do anything anywhere in this house. And then I don't have a backyard because the house itself is like a huge thing that's split into 3. So there's like a back apartment. So they've got all that stuff. They have a nice big porch and access to the backyard, but it's like so far away. I can't really even use the backyard. The garage is stacked to the brim with random stuff. I've got no room for that. I've got a long driveway out the side and a thin porch in the front and a lawn. That was about it. So, Zikon22, do you own your house? No, I don't own my house. I've lived here 20 years. Yeah, it would be great to be able to have a place to be able to do that kind of stuff, but unfortunately, not here. I've been thinking of moving. Eventually, I'm sure it will happen. But right now, I'm like living outside of the house. There's geocaching all the time, getting out and traveling and everything. I'm barely at home. at least before the isolation. What did I miss? Kun and Bud, do you wood carve? Aha. So you probably, I don't know if you're watching this, you may or may not have seen some of the other live streams I did recently where I was whittling Wednesdays, which are not gone. They'll come back. Just need to sit down and do another one. So I decided to try to take up that little bit of a hobby of woodworking, pyrography, using hot iron to burn designs and artwork into various types of wood, and a little bit of carving as well. So not like crazy awesome, really cool, here's a big chunk of wood, shaving it down, sculpting it into this really masterful piece of art. Nothing like that. But yeah, like taking some pre-cut shapes and creating trackables and neat little small hand-sized design, at least just to start as a beginner thing. And they've all been handed out, and I don't really have anything now. I wonder. I'll be back in a second. I have my bag of stuff. But is there anything in here? That is the question. See, here's some tools of the trade. Breaking out all these random little things. See, I've already picked up some things. I've got something I can burn a nice little piece of art on here. I used to be a lot more into fine art, so during school, I did like drawing and sketching, another nice frame for one, perhaps. So it was nice to pick this up and do a little more. I guess you could say this is kind of handiwork, handmade stuff. No, I don't have. Got little bits and pieces of stuff that's unfinished. Oh, here's a random one. This one I started but haven't finished because it's not really any relevant anymore. I made little trackable things for the for GIF 2019 event. So these were prize trackable items, and so there were. I made two of them. I can't remember. 2 or 3 of them, and started this one, but didn't need it, so it's not finished. So who knows? I might make some more for the next GIF event. But yeah, I've got loads of little these sorts of things, like these little wooden. I guess you could say wooden thing. I don't know what they're called, but you take a few of them and you can layer them together, and then you get like a layered, cut through one multi-layer relief sort of design, which a number of trackables that I recently made were like that, and they've been handed out, and they're traveling, so that's pretty cool. So I'll have to do some more of that again coming up. More Whittle Wednesdays. I'm gonna put this stuff away now. Sandpaper and whittle stuff. Right. So okay. Geocaching questions. Another 7 questions. So many questions. So Joshua, geocaching vlogger, he did a live stream and he was trying to answer these questions as well, and I don't think he got through them all. So I'm trying. Geocaching questions. Number 1, how did you get into geocaching and when did you first start? So I made a movie exactly about this last year for taking the road trip to Geo Woodstock. And that was a special video for my cache-versary. And let me see if I can pull this up quickly. So it was back in 2009. Yes. And I just picked up a smartphone and asked around, what kind of apps, what kind of games should I get? Everybody asks that. Got a new phone. What should I get? So somebody mentioned you should try out this game called geocaching thing. So I downloaded the official app, and yeah, it's pretty much never been the same since. I actually downloaded the app days before I used it because the first cache that I found was about over 200 kilometers from home. Went up to the Bruce Peninsula, which I can show it on here again. The Bruce Peninsula is, I'll show it on Cachly, is right up. So this is the center here. And so I'm down around here. That's KW. That's where I am. And the Bruce Peninsula is this big stretch of land right here. So it's about 2 to 3 hours to get from there all the way up to here, up to Tobermory, which is kind of world renowned. A lot of people know it. I have an earth cache up here somewhere in the grotto at Cypress Lake, and that's getting a lot of favorites. I have to get up there again. It's been so many years since I got up to the grotto. But the first cache I found was in Tobermory, right up here. And so for that cache-iversary video, I headed up to Tobermory and then took a ferry with Deja up to Manitoulin Island, and then drove all the way out to this white spot. It's like a quarry. They're doing a whole lot of construction stuff here. Out to the end of this road where there is a lighthouse right down here, the Mississauga Lighthouse. And that right there is the... So to backtrack a bit, that first cache in Tobermory was a cache that was at a plaque dedicated to the ship called Griffin, which disappeared at sea many years ago. And so when I first started geocaching, you don't think about all that. You're just looking for a container. So I didn't even think about looking at the plaque. So for the cache-iversary, 2009, 19, yeah, 10 years, 10-year cache-iversary, I decided to do a little bit of research about the Griffin and discovered that that's where, at the end of Manitoulin Island, that's where the most likely resting spot of the Griffin shipwreck is. And so on the research, I checked to see if there's a cache there. And there's a cache there. So that was the beginning of the road trip to Geo Woodstock. It was all the way up there and then all the way down across the border and then down to Texas and all that. So that video is on my channel. You should check it out if you haven't already. It is called this one, Amazing Discovery, about the first geocache I ever found. Hey, that sounded like Craig Seamichel. Ghost ship geocaching. That's what it's called. Oh, the camera doesn't fix the view right there. Oh well. So that's pretty much how I got into caching. I got the iPhone 3GS. That was my first GPS device. iPhone 3GS. This big bulky thing that had just sufficient GPS capability for geocaching. And that was the start of it all. Hello, Sukai is here. Welcome. And Joachim, I think I got that right. Euler from Germany. Hello. Roger is here as well. Roger is a patron. Yay! Thank you, Roger. You help make this channel possible. Just like Chris Meekley, he is also a patron. Thank you. And if you want to help support the channel, because there's like equipment and software, this stuff all costs to do this kind of stuff. And so being a patron does truly help the channel be able to do this sort of thing. And on that note, there is something coming up that I'm trying. I mentioned earlier I think it was the last live stream of doing a live board game of. Oh, hey, did you see this? Look who it is. It's Bricky Bruce. This is backwards. It's Bricky Bruce. He is a mini-me. And you can discover him shortly. But he's just been kind of sitting here watching watching over Cache Me If You Can, the geocaching board game. Just 2 days ago, I actually ran through a test playthrough with a couple of participants just to see if the setup worked, and it worked very, very nicely, which means that very shortly I will be doing a live playthrough of Cache Me If You Can as a demonstration, because this is an awesome game. It is really fun. I feel like it's really captured the soul and the spirit of the game. And as a huge bonus, this game was made by DPH Games, and they have graciously offered a game to be given away as a prize for that live stream. So pay attention and watch for news about when that's going to happen, because you want to be there to win that game. And it'll be the new edition. This game has been around for a number of years. The first edition was it came in an ammo can. I can't remember if it was the first or an update, but there's a lower quality ammo can, so like a cardboard box with the hand, and it looks like an ammo can and all that stuff. And then there was also a higher quality version of the ammo can. I'm not sure if they are available now. I'm pretty sure the standard version is. I'm not. I think they ran out of or aren't creating the heavier duty ammo can version. But this one was a new special edition that they created via Kickstarter. And as soon as I saw this one go up on Kickstarter, I'm like, I'm in. I want in on that. So that is a special one. And they will be giving away a free copy of this to somebody who will win during that live stream of Cache Me If You Can. And special thanks to Cache Canada, who is part of that testing team that doing a lot of tweaks to set it up and make sure everything was working. The audio, video, the syncing, the streaming, the connecting, the conference calling. It's not an easy thing, because you got to be able to see the board in high definition, and you got to have live interaction and all that stuff. So that was all 2 thumbs up. It worked. So pay attention for that, or stay tuned for that. But you should see the setup that I had for that. That was crazy. And there's so much software. So as a vlogger, I've got a whole bunch of tools. So this is now my higher quality Canon 50 DSLR, or the mid-range one. And it's one of the arguably the number 1, number 2 rated vlogger camera for 2019, which is why I got it. And it's this now I can use as a camera on the computer, as kind of like a webcam. It doesn't do that natively. You have to get special software that will allow that. So that's one thing. And then I've also got my phone, this thing right here, that's connected in as a webcam to the computer as well. And I have my previous phone, iPhone 6S, which can do the same sort of thing. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That hurts so much. Hey, you can see the screen. This hurts much. And that phone right here, that has a crack in the screen as well. Everything is cracking, but it's still together and it's still working. That's a thumbs up. So there's all that, all connected in. They can connect wirelessly or by USB, and none of that is free. If you want free stuff, you get ads, you get logos in the corner and all this stuff. If you want pure, clean, everything like high definition, high quality, that stuff too, that's not free. So thank you again to all of the patrons who pitch in and help support the channel to make all of this possible. If you aren't yet and you want to become one or look into becoming one, Patreon works where you've got a number of tiers. So each tier, it's kind of like Kickstarter. Each tier, you get different types of rewards and thank yous and gifts and stuff. So you can check that out. I've got things down from like $1 a month to help support up to a crazy wacky, all it takes is one person, $100 a month, mega patron tier. But I mean, generally speaking, with all the Patreon people out there, it seems like the average tier is around that $3 to $5 a month, just to help support creators. Because with Kickstarter, you're creating a product. You're creating something. You're whether it's from scratch or you've already got a prototype set up, and it's about going on to mass production. Kickstarter is like a product thing, whereas Patreon is something that's beneficial for creators, an ongoing production, whether it's software or podcasts or videos or research, that kind of thing. Like that's something where people can pitch in to constantly fund an ongoing project. And so it's so useful, especially for YouTubers, because ads on YouTube, no. It's not about, it can't be about making money, especially for the geocaching community. When you look at, I mean, Joshua, geocaching vlogger, 50,000 subscribers. That's huge, and that is awesome. But even that on a YouTube scale is like, it's just this tiny little sliver of possibility. So any support is welcome. But on that note, hey, you know, Bricky Bruce here I've been hearing him screaming in my ear that he is feeling lonely. So I think he wants people to maybe discover him. I don't know. See, that's the front. He loves geocaching. He's like a geocacher, and he's a fooner. He foons good. See, this is the foon. This is how you foon. Some people, okay, so this is an OCD thing of mine. It is. I'm so OCD about this. The official foon, that Running Man's type thing, that's the thing that's in my logo, that little shape, the guy in the corner that's running. The official website, the guy who created it, John Darrow? Oh, what was his name? I can't remember. He gives a description on how to foon. And he basically just says, you know, you can do it as long as you've got one arm forward, one back, and one leg forward and one back. That's a foon. So you get so many people who, let me get this right, who do their foon kind of like what feels like a Superman, like this sort of thing. So he's like reaching up. Will this work? So you get people doing like the Superman foon, where they're reaching. Hurry. See if I can do this. This is awkward. So people doing like this sort of thing. You can see it. So or stretching arms straight out, and it's like kind of weird thing. But it's like a Running Man. It's like if you were walking. You know how you walk? Your left leg forward, right? You're opposite, right? Your arms and your legs are opposite. The foon, more so natural, is just like that. It's like you're running and stopping, and you stop in your position, where if one leg is back, the opposite arm is forward. So this here is the better foon. It's kind of like he was running and decided to stop. So you got left arm forward and one back. And really, all you got to do is just walk and then stop. And whatever is up, kick it back a bit. It's kind of, and so I'm OCD about that. Every time I see somebody foon with like the Superman straight up, I'm like, no. But that's Bricky Bruce. He likes to foon. And there you go. He wants to be discovered. Discover Bricky Bruce. Woo. Lefurvy. Lefrvy. He hasn't been discovered for some time. He's sometimes been to events, but hasn't really said hi to many people. This locks the exposure. There we go. Lefrvy. So he will be happy to greet you and say hi. And we'll put him back on his little shelf here. There is another trackable kind of hidden away somewhere on the screen. A partner in crime, you may say, because this is Bricky Bruce. He goes with me. My car is trackable, so Deja is also discoverable, only at events or only if you see it in person. If you notice, I try to censor that code on the videos. But now that I have this nice kayak up here, I haven't named the kayak yet, but the kayak has a trackable character. And she's kind of a friend of Bricky Bruce, but she hasn't been out very much. But there she is. There she is. She is patiently awaiting another opportunity to get outside and enjoy the outdoors. We have Molly Mermaid. Here we go. Molly Mermaid. And she also wants to be discovered and tracked. LECJWR. Molly Mermaid, Bricky Bruce. Woohoo! Hey, geocaching vlogger is in the house hiking and listening at the same. Ooh, he is out hiking. I guess you are finding caches, I would assume. Unless you're finding more of those wooden signs, the wood signs of hope. That would be cool if you're getting more of those, because I just watched that today. That was geocaching vlogger's newest video that he just released at noon. I think our time is when he releases them, somewhere around there. And that's a really cool idea. And it's neat that there's so many out there. I think it's just local to his area, though, in Minnesota. But go check out that video after this is done. Signs of Hope, UDAC says. Yes, that's the... is that the official name that the company used? Or was that just the title that Joshua gave for his video? Because one of the signs has hope on it. Yeah. But... yeah, I think that was a really cool idea. And that was like a real scavenger hunt. That is like a real scavenger hunt because there's no coordinates, just pictures, as Josh said, from, I think it was Instagram or Facebook, and just try to find the pictures, and then there's the sign. That's a fun type of scavenger hunt. Okay, question number two. Question number 2. We're already in an hour now. What do you enjoy most about geocaching in your area? Most enjoyable in my area. Oh man, that is a tough question because if you don't already know, Ontario is kind of a hotbed of geocaching. There's been a couple of official HQ experiments and tests that have happened in our area as well. So, I mean, we've got challenges and puzzles, and we've got ridiculously high terrains, culverts, and tree climbs. We don't have any climbing equipment required caches. Actually, there is one. There's one that I think has been found once so far. It's on private property. It is literally a telephone pole, one of those special ones that they had permission to place it basically in a field. It's sitting upright in the field, and it's like greased up, and there's no way to get up there except to use equipment, and the cache is on the top. And that's it. And so if you try to like climb, you're hugging, if you try that, you're just going to slip down. I think somebody else has tried a drone. It's just crazy. I'm not gonna see if I can find that one. It's grease, something grease. Somebody in chat, blood, sweat, and grease. Yes, Bill Kettlewell. Thank you. I'm gonna see if I can find the GC code so you can check it out, because that one. That's another questionable one because it was published with a different DT, but there was some drama about whether it should be a 1-5, a 1 difficulty 5 terrain, or a 5 difficulty 1 terrain, because it requires a special equipment. What the heck? Blood, sweat. Where is it? Is it going to show up? Oh, I know. No. Oh. I'm trying to do this quickly on the... Okay, here we go. Using GME on the geocaching map. Yeah, blood, sweat, and grease. But where's the GC code? Yeah. Show labels. No. There we go. Oops. Blood. Blood, sweat. There we go. GC6JFE7. Ooh, I can do this now too. Blood, sweat, and grease. 1.5, 5 terrain. And what do we got? Yep, loads of information, equipment, clothing, hint, all that stuff. There's parking to get to it. So you've got to park, and then it's back here in this private area. So it's with permission placed. But There are some pictures. You got to see this. It's a pole. It's a pole in the middle of nowhere, and you have to use equipment to be able to get up to the top. So they were trying, taking some pictures up there. You managed to get to the top, and oh, man, I haven't seen these pictures. This is new. Somebody else has been up there. Awesome. So yeah, we have stuff like that, but so yeah, there's such a huge variety. But I think the favorite thing that I like about my area are all of the variety of power trails. Now, you might love or hate power trails, love them or hate them. We have such a good variety that there's bound to be something that you like. Because I know that there was one that I tried in the Toronto area that I call it a power trail because it's one after the other in a line, but each one is ridiculously hard. So they're high difficulty caches all along the road. And so it's not just like a boom, boom, park and grab series, but it's still power trail by my definition, at least. But then we've also got, your typical farmland, rural roadsides that are quick park and grabs. You can go out there to get some fresh air, just like yesterday. I still smelled some fresh manure. I've got a picture I got to share on Instagram of the fresh manure farm machinery that passed by as he was like spraying out the manure out the back, like 10 meters away from me, right next to the road. And then he turned, and it's just, I got this really cool picture of it, but oh man, I can still smell it around here. Gah. But my relatives live on a farm, so it's not too bad. Oh, now I'm backwards again? Am I backwards again? Or now I'm forward. Okay. Yes, that's right. There we go. But then we've also got river trails, so paddle caches. We've got so many rivers in southern Ontario, and a lot of them are fairly shallow, like maybe a couple of feet on average. And so they're really popular in the summer for doing like tubing days. So pump up your tube and sit there and just float down the river and grab all the riverside caches. Canoeing and kayaking is a huge popular thing as well. And you could spend a day on the water and get 100 caches just from water trails. And so that's like a huge thing to look forward to in the summer. So I think that would probably be one of the most enjoyable things in my area, at least. We've got a lot of tree climber geocaches as well, which is awesome because there are so many tree climbs. That's why there's so many pictures of me in trees. So yeah, if you're ever looking for a good variety of caches to find, come to Ontario. I know a few people in Michigan have been. Travis Smola has been wanting to come over to do some power trails in Ontario. There's the London Loop, which I can't remember how many caches, like 500-600 caches in that series, all roadsides around London, Ontario. I mentioned in a previous video, I think it was, the Chimichanga enormous series of caches, same sort of thing, just lines and lines of, actually, you know what, I can show you on the map. So many lines of geocaches, and